Joao Felix. Oh, whoa. Ooh, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, Chelsea have reached an agreement to sign Joao Felix from Atletico Madrid from the big man, the leading authority himself, Big Orny, David Ornstein of The Athletic. And yeah, man, it is happening. Conor Gallagher has been given the green light to travel to Atletico Madrid in the next 24 hours. Of course, we've already got the here we go from Romano. From that, of course, Chelsea have agreed a fee with Atletico to sell him. Gallagher's agreed to go to Atletico, and Atletico have agreed wages after completing a medical. So it's all happening, and we're going to talk about it today. So thank you for joining me. Strap yourselves in. Thank you for supporting the content as always. Thank you for liking. Thank you for subscribing. And yeah, let's get into it, man. All right, so we're going to speak about Felix in just a moment. We can go into details. We did look at his stats. Impressive, a sort of combinational player in the final third, a bit of a flair player, certainly a blockbuster name that will sell shirts and excite people, especially in a time of uncertainty and frustration with Chelsea fans. You know, even if Raheem Sterling is not your favourite player, like Sterling, Chilwell, Gallagher, Trevoh, Chalobah, lots of players feel like they're being treated poorly. Chelsea being quite ruthless. A lot of people are upset, but then again, a lot of people are also endorsing this ruthlessness from the Chelsea ownership or the Chelsea infrastructure. The sporting directors, a lot of people maybe think there needs to be this kind of ruthlessness to rebuild a proper team from the ground up, and maybe be less vibesy. Raheem Sterling, we've spoken about this. I did a video about it earlier today. Of course, he wants to get back in the England squad. Look, I'm not going to spend too much time on Raheem Sterling. I'd be happy to sell him if there was a destination for him. He wants clarity with the club. I wonder what that conversation is going to be like. We'd like to sell you, please. Can you leave? I mean, I don't know. That's very, very tricky. What is not up for dispute was it was an absolute knobhead move releasing a statement like that an hour before kickoff when you knew 2 days prior that you weren't going to be featuring in that game. That is nothing short of a knobhead move, mate. And you should not do that. Your Chelsea teammates are trying to win against Man City, and they'll be like, you know, on their phones, in the changing room, like, oh, Raheem's just like done this. Oh, you know, why has he done that? It's not what you want. It's not what you want, and I was very disappointed that Sterling did that. Anyway, we'll see what happens with him. I don't think, clearly signing Felix is not dependent on Sterling getting out the door. So we will have 10,000 wingers at the club. We are going to jump into this article from Ornstein in just a moment. Just a few additional confirmations from Fabrizio Romano, who's been speaking about Chelsea transfers. Aston Villa had been trying to sign Felix, but Chelsea are about to close the deal. Here we go in the next 24 hours, and that was an hour ago. And since then, Ornstein has come out and said the agreement has been reached. Chelsea's target in the position of Chiesa is Joao Felix. So these links of Federico Chiesa to Chelsea was really because Chelsea were looking at maybe this kind of player, even after like Pedro Neto, but it's Joao Felix. Finally, before we do jump into this article to find out what's going on with the signing and the agreement, he also confirms, this is Fabrizio Romano, that Romelu Lukaku is very close to joining Napoli. Now, Antonio Conte's Napoli got touched up 3-0 against Verona in Serie A, I believe their first game, and Conte, understandably, fuming. Wouldn't bite on any of the questions about Victor Osimhen and what's going on there, and should they be using him or whatever. Like, I think Conte will get it right at Napoli. It's just not right now. He's going to beat the absolute living Fs out of his team, and they will fall into line, because Conte losing 3-0 with a massive club like Napoli to Verona, he will absolutely hate that. See what happens. They might sign Billy Gilmore, interestingly, as well. But it does seem like Osimhen's still not going to be integrated into the Napoli team. Interestingly, guys, I do want to spend a moment on Osimhen, because Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, there's been confirmation from L'Équipe, a papier français, how do you say, journal français, a French newspaper, have confirmed that PSG are not going in for Victor Osimhen. Interesting. Will he accept the Saudi bag, which it looks like Ivan Toney's about to do, by the way? So all the available strikers out there going to Saudi Arabia. Or will Osimhen, in the final dying embers of this transfer window, go do a Joao Felix essentially and say, okay, I'll lower my wages. Okay, I'll come with a initial loan. Just get me out of here. Get me to Chelsea. Get me in that Chelsea shirt. Let me just start again. Again, I've been saying over and over, I do think Chelsea are in a very strong negotiating position, not just with Napoli, but with Victor Osimhen himself. Because we could be like, yeah, look, we like Jackson. We got him. We've got, Gu as a backup. We've got other players. Nkunku can play that. I mean, Nkunku looks so far under Maresca, as in pre-season in our first game. He looks infinitely better centrally, granted the sort of number 10, 8 behind, than he does out wide. Just let him play false 9. He'll play much better false 9, I think, than left wing. So we've got options, and I think this strong negotiating position for Chelsea will see towards the end of the transfer window, like I said, the dying embers. Napoli, maybe Osimhen himself changing their position, but Romelu Lukaku is very close to joining Napoli from Chelsea, and that is a separate deal. And I mean that in a completely separate deal, not one of these separate deals lately, which are essentially, they're separate deals, but they're not separate deals. Do you know what I mean? Like Amari Kellyman and Ian Mutson going to Villa and Chelsea respectively. They were kind of actually linked. This won't be linked. It'll be completely separate deals. Right, Conte wants Lukaku, especially after his 3-0 loss. He's probably stamping his feet over in Naples like, give me Lukaku! And there was a 30 million euro bid. They're slowly increasing it a little bit. Chelsea is still demanding more. They want 40 million euros, which is more than the 45 they originally wanted. I feel like a deal will be done, and Fabrizio Romano is saying Romelu Lukaku is incredibly close to joining Napoli. And just to confirm finally one more time, that is separate to Victor Osimhen. That is just Lukaku to Napoli on a loan, possibly either a permanent or possibly a loan with an obligation to buy. Of course, the only frustrating thing about that, guys, of course, is if it is a loan with an obligation, that's one of our 6 loan spots taken up for a year, needlessly. When we're really the reason why we sold Moreira to Strasbourg is because we didn't want to loan him there because we're limited with loan spots. So it'll be very frustrating for the 3rd season in a row having to loan Romelu Lukaku and use one of these very limited and very precious international loan slots. We'll see what happens. Of course, the priority is getting Lukaku out of it, so we might have to do it. All right, baby girl, the good stuff. David Ornstein, big boy, 44 minutes ago at time of recording reported this. Chelsea have reached an agreement with Atletico Madrid for the permanent signing of Portugal forward Joao Felix. Hey, everyone clap, klaxons and foghorns or whatever sound effects could be inserted here. The 24-year-old has agreed personal terms on a 6-year contract with an additional 7 months. 7 months contract, Felix to Chelsea. It's exciting! Look, man, we might not be great at football yet. I do believe we looked okay against City in many ways. So whatever, keep your powder dry. All these Sterling Lukaku dramas will eventually go away, and hopefully we can just be a team quietly and play football. This is exciting. 7-year deal. The Athletic reported last week that the Premier League club had open talks with their La Liga counterparts regarding a deal to sign Joao Felix. Of course, that came as Atletico striker Samu Amorodion's proposed move to Stamford Bridge appeared to collapse due to problems in terms of finalising his contract at Chelsea. Joao Felix, of course, previously spent the second half of the 22-23 season on loan at Chelsea, scoring 4 goals in 20 appearances. A little bit unfair. I think he scored 4 Premier League goals in, I don't know, how many starts? It was maybe 11 starts or something. It was pretty good considering the chaos. I'm going to say my piece once more on this signing in just a moment. He spent the last term, of course, at Barcelona, registering 10 goals and 6 assists, which is a pretty good return. Before joining Barcelona, Felix extended his Atletico contract, which now runs until 2029, which is mental because he fell out with Simeone, but he agreed to sign an extension, I guess, from their perspective, to protect his asset value. From his perspective, just money and, safety. Of course, he joined... but what makes it wild, if he's got another 5 years left on his contract for the money that was being touted that we're getting him for, it's an insanely good deal. Like, weirdly good deal. And he's clearly good. I mean, I guess he's going to pass a medical, and he's not, he's got 2 legs, so what's going on here? He joined Atletico from Benfica in the summer of 2019 for 126 million euros. Of course, he scored 34 goals for the Spanish side, which is not the most elite return, but it was, Simeone ball. Earlier on Monday, Joao Felix was named in the Atletico travelling squad for the opening La Liga game at Villarreal. Felix has been capped 41 times by Portugal. Not bad for a 24-year-old. Of course, he's not starting recently with all their superstars, but could be again. And he made 2 appearances for his country at the European Championship before returning for pre-season. He would be Chelsea's 9th summer signing. 9th! Following the arrivals of, deep breath, Tosin Adarabioyo, Amari Kellyman, Mark Gue, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, Renato Vega, Caleb Wiley, Aaron Anselmino, and Pedro Neto. Wait, what about the goalkeeper as well? Have we just signed so many players that David Ornstein is Philip Jorgensen. He's not put Philip Jorgensen in there. My word. People just literally forgetting how many players we've signed. Chelsea and Atletico remain in discussions regarding a separate deal for Conor Gallagher. Although we've had the here we go. Apparently that's just done and dusted, mate. Chelsea opened up the Premier League season with a 2-0 defeat at the hands of champions Man City and begin their Conference League campaign against Servette on Thursday before facing Wolves on Sunday. Yeah, and by the way, Servette, this game we're playing to qualify for the Conference League group stages. I listened to the athletic football podcast, the Chelsea one, straight out of Cobham, and apparently they've played 8 competitive games and they've just come off a 7-1 win. So yeah, I'm scared of a team called Servette that I don't even know where they're from. Are they Swiss or Swedish? I don't even know, and I'm terrified of them. But we've signed Joao Felix on a 7-year deal. Let's talk about that. All right. It's all very exciting. It's all very intense, Chelsea. Chelsea's a very, everything's happening. Lots of stuff's happening. Apparently good. Everything but winning football matches. All the good and bad stuff, around it. You sort of be distracted by them waving new players over here and you forget about losing football matches. Yeah, it is exciting. It is. I'll reiterate what I said a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was when it was first linked. We were going into this season with maybe a great coach. We don't know yet, but he'd only been managing in the Championship. And our most high-profile signing was Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall from the Championship. Didn't feel kind of Chelsea. It didn't feel Chelsea at all. Even Chelsea under the new owners, who've signed loads of big names, to the point, to a fault, a lot of instances. They've signed players on just being names and gave them massive wages, of course. Aubameyang, Sterling, and Koulibaly. There's other examples as well in that first summer, which they reflect on as a mistake. This was before the sporting directors, when Todd Bowley was the interim sporting director. But we didn't have any sort of superstar Galactico names. And I put Pedro Neto up there. I think he's a really, Man City were excited, were looking into signing him. And had they'd signed him, Man City fans would be excited. He's that kind of player. Just as Chelsea fans were rightly excited about signing Pedro Neto, injury record aside. So out of nowhere, from everyone thinking Dewsbury Hall's a high-profile signing, what? To signing 2 Portuguese 24-year-old superstars, granted similar in profile, but in Joao Felix and Pedro Neto. Now, Neto seems more like we need, and we know he's a known quantity and he can perform, provided you keep him fit. Joao Felix seems like a luxury player. It's almost like everything else around do we need him was right. He's a great talent, and he's a big name, and he's a big marketable star with a massive following. Great. He's still young. He loved being at Chelsea. He's already been here, great. He'll lower his wages, great, and we'll get a presumably a really, really reasonable fee. That's what's being reported, great. So all that is great, you know. And it's like, well, we definitely should sign him then because of all these things. But it's not like, oh, there's a Joao Felix hole in this Chelsea team. There's not. But you know, in the age of underperforming Mudryks and Sterlings, and you know, just a confident flair player like Joao Felix, that I would love to see him link up with Cole Palmer, Nkunku, Pedro Neto. You know, their link-up play would be something special. I do genuinely believe that. So I'd like to see it, and therefore it's an exciting signing, I think. They are trying to get Sterling out the door, clearly, Chelsea Football Club at the moment. I think that's going to be an impossible task. We'll see what's happened. And reports are suggesting continually that Chelsea do believe in Mudryk, and they think Mudryk's got a huge future, and he has the capacity to be a bit of a superstar. They bought him for that reason, and they maintain that position on him. You could be cynical and be like, well, yeah, it's because his book value is still massive. You've just signed him. He cost a lot of money, and his value will be low. So there's always that. But apparently, the recurring themes is, even if there were a club in for him, they wouldn't sell him because they do still have great belief in him. Not so much Raheem Sterling, but then again, he's on 4 times the wages of Mudryk, so there is that. All right. Chelsea, a crazy club, and we move every day. Every day. And yeah, just as I'm seeing here, Fabrizio Romano has tweeted, here we go. So I've got it from Ornstein. For me, that's the highest. That is the highest authority. And Fabrizio Romano has just tweeted Joao Felix to Chelsea. Here we go. 6+ 1 year deal. And let me know what you think, guys. Comment down below. I'll be very keen to hear what you think about the signing of Joao Felix. Yeah, super exciting, even if it doesn't make total sense. Comment down below. Thank you for liking and subscribing. See you back here soon. Peace.